Hello friends, near and far, dear to my heart, I'm Victoria with Aligned Soul Tarot. Welcome to this tarot series where we'll be exploring the wisdom of the North and South Node natal placements in your chart. In this reading, we're going to talk about the North Node in Gemini, a South Node in Sagittarius. We'll discuss this axis and what it means, as well as providing oracle and tarot messages to support you. This reading may also resonate for any Gemini or Sag placement in your birth chart. And as always, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. You can also find the helpful links below if you are unfamiliar with your birth chart, right? I offer detailed birth chart readings. We do synastry relationship chart readings, and I have a couple different styles for my birth charts. But with all those readings, you get a full 2-question tarot spread, as well as detailed birth chart notes, and a lot of extra support, resources, and content from me to really get a clear understanding of your unique blueprint. Also, on Patreon, I'm doing a pick-a-pile reading for this upcoming September 17th lunar eclipse. And I have all of my Love Extended monthly readings on there, as well as any of the eclipse readings that I've done this past year. So you can kind of reflect and look back on any of the content, because it all is truly timeless. And you also get 20% off all of my private services. So if you want to stay up to date with all of my monthly general and love readings as well here on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. I do offer monthly readings here as well. So let's dive into it. These 2 cosmic points unlock a lot about your soul's purpose. The North Node talks about your guiding system, right? Where you are moving forward to, how you're evolving through your chart. And then the South Node talks about past. So this could be past lives, even ancestral karma, karmic lineage, right? And also just family that we're born into and what that kind of holds for us. And with the eclipses, again, the lunar nodes are being activated. So this information is crucial during this time. The Gemini North Node individuals are on a path of self-discovery. These 2 signs are forever students of life, and we'll talk more about that. Gemini, on the other hand, is more about communication. This is 3rd house, learning, adaptability, being forever curious, right? The spectrum of color, and building meaningful connections, conflict resolution, all of these good things that we find in the North Node qualities of Gemini. It is truly about expressing one's truth, and also really learning how to balance the head and the heart and not becoming too scattered, right? The Magician represents that flow between spirit, right, and also the intellectual head, the mind, where Gemini can really get trapped at times and become very scattered. The Sagittarius South Node and Gemini North Node individuals really have to heal and grow through releasing old belief systems about self-worth, right? And how it depends on potential struggle and pain that they can relate with others. It's essential for them to recognize that defensiveness often arises in anticipation of harm, and that others' defensiveness is not a reaction of their own self-worth. They must also understand that conflicts with those who share their experiences of, say, oppression, trauma, do not invalidate their own, right? And on the flip side, they cannot befriend their enemy, right? Keep your friends close and your enemies closer is the quote that comes to mind. In fact, these interactions, right, really help ground them in empathy, right? Having a more of a spectrum of relations, and it's more enriching and transformative than the familiar scripted confrontations with power. Gemini North Node individuals thrive through community, not institutions. While institutions can drain energy through staged conflicts, personal conflicts are more daunting because they involve real shakes and the potential for genuine change. Although these 2 mutable signs are, again, the truth seekers, they must also understand to not over-intellectualize their emotions and to be able to, again, sit with them, grounding themselves between the head and the heart, the flow between both. With the lessons of the Sagittarius South Node, Individuals need to address the relationship with their emotions and learn to stop rationalizing and just feel, especially anger. With the fire of Sagittarius and the air combination, the true alchemy between these two is water. Temperance comes to mind when I think of Sagittarius, the major arcana, right? Stepping out of the mind and learning how to step into the heart. Now let's get into your reading. Why, hello there, and welcome to the Gemini North Node, Sagittarius South Node reading. Thank you for joining me here in this space. So let's dive into this. We got a basic understanding of what these two signs represent, and I cannot emphasize enough that these two signs are the truth seekers of the zodiac. They are students of life. They are curious, they are open-minded, they're stimulated by information and spirituality. So with this access, that is crucial. That is key. But I can't emphasize also enough how important it is to stop rationalizing their emotions and to just feel them, right? Over intellectualizing and always trying to carry on to the next thing, right? What's the next thing? What's the, it's a bit scattered. It can become a bit scattered. And I feel with this access that Sag, when you think of the differences, and there's usually about two core differences when we're looking at these axes, right? And there's a lot of similarities between a lot of these North and South Node, but there's a couple big lessons that we're meant to learn. So Gemini North Node can take the qualities of the Sag South Node, because Sag represents the archer, right? And they're always aiming their arrow towards their truth, right? And they have a very clear focus, whereas a Gemini has more of a broader spectrum of beliefs and skill sets, where Sag might kind of narrow in on one thing and then move on to the next thing and on to the next thing. They both like to have diversity, but it just might appear a bit different. Gemini can take in a lot of different things all at once, whereas Sag will sit with one thing for a while and then sit with another thing for a while. So kind of learning how to adapt with the Gemini North Node to a wider perspective. It allows for, again, more empathy, like I spoke about in the beginning. There's a lot of validation that we can get from people that share the same experiences as us in life, through our oppression, through our traumas, right? There is a sense of belonging that we can find. But with these two signs, especially the Sag South Node, is to work through that anger and maybe that kind of rebellious streak, and really learning how to confront or befriend the enemy, because that saying, keep your friends close but your enemies closer, is really what the Gemini North Node is pushing you to do, is to be more open-minded, be a bit more flexible, take in more perspective, which allows for more empathy naturally. Okay, so I titled this video, "The Truth is Out There." I was thinking of the, what is that show? The X-Files. The truth is out there, and then you have gathered a sense of that with the South Node in Sag. Again, they're the truth seekers. But again, the Gemini North Node is asking you to maybe not be too narrow or fixated on one way of believing or one way of thinking. And also, again, the communication is really what's most influential with Gemini. They govern and rule Mercury, just like Virgo. And this is about networks, right? Branching out of networks, trying different friend groups. Again, getting to know your opposite, right? And that might be a bit scary because with Sag South Node, it can be like, they don't get me. Like, their truth isn't my truth, so I want nothing to do with them. And there is a level to that of accepting that. Like, some people aren't for us. But Gemini is urging you to dig a bit deeper and to try to empathize with others and to open up your heart more, okay? They are the lovers, right? So there is a sense of this more open, more joyful, more playful, more curious energy that we can find with Gemini to kind of help that Sagittarius South Node to release some of these held emotions, anger, especially like I said, with the fire in the air. All right, let's dive into your reading here. This is for Gemini North Node, Sagittarius South Node. Let's see here. Let's see. I just heard the word fixated or like rigidity, you know? Sagittarius is, when I think of Sag, they make great leaders. They really do. But I do think, again, that it's important for them to try to open up to different walks of life. And not to say that they don't, but again, when their arrow is fixed, it's really hard for them to see beyond that. Okay, and that's where that Gemini North Node comes in. So let's talk about it deeper here. Gemini North Node, Sagittarius South Node, what do they need to know? What is the truth for this collective? Gemini North Node, Sagittarius South Node, what do they need to know? What do they need to see? The 9, see, this is self-discovery. That's the thing, it's a forever student. We have the 9 of Cups to the 9 of Swords. And this is kind of what I was talking about with this kind of smug, you know, the downside to the 9 of Cups, of course, let's talk about the positive first, is this is happiness, this is joy, this is wish fulfillment, this is self-discovery, but there can be a bit of selfishness. As you can see, this person here has their arms crossed, they're a bit smug, you know, they're like guarding their cups, they're like, mine, you know? Because there is this independence found here, especially with any 9 in the tarot. It is about self-discovery and self-mastery, which is very much Sag and Gemini. But when we become too self-reliant, too self-focused, right, even a bit smug or prideful, we can kind of push people away, right? And then we kind of hide behind this 9 of Swords, which is Gemini. You may become a bit restless or scattered. So what I'm getting off of this is to find the balance between self-discovery and your truth, right? Sagittarius South Node, and then welcoming in others. This is the Wand, Ace of Wands, which is all about spiritual energy. This is compassion. This is fire. This is warm. This is very playful and ambitious and creative energy, which is led and guided by spirit here. And this is a welcoming energy. It's very warm. It's fire. Okay. So letting in new ideas, new concepts. This will allow for the flow of this 9 of Cups, right? And also, again, this 7 of Pentacles is all about waiting, investments, return on investments, right? There's a bit of being slow, standing still, which also was emphasized with this axis. Again, Gemini North Node does have to learn how to ground themselves. They have to really learn how to step into their body, into their heart, and to not, again, over-intellectualize, over-rationalize their emotions. I think that Sag and Gemini both struggle with that. So that is also a big lesson here, is to learn how to be patient, right? Because when we can really practice the 7 of Pentacles, we actually bear fruit, right? We actually see these seeds of potential, which are the Wand, any sort of ace, I should say, grow, maximize potential, right? Efficiency. So there's a level of efficiency here and balance that's found here. And again, that's also here. Look at that on the bottom. The 2 of Pentacles, the 4 of Swords, and the Chariot. Like I said, you have another ace here as well with the Lovers. Look at that. Beautiful. The Truth Seekers. And there is that Gemini influence. How beautiful. Yeah, this is about relating, relationships, the Lovers. This is being connected to your opposite to some extent, right? Because when you think of the Geminis too, they represent the twins, Castor and Pollux. And a lot of people talk about Geminis as having this very dualistic nature. And some will say it's two-faced, but it's really not. What it is that Gemini, again, can almost become a chameleon. and they can relate and understand others. So there is also this aspect of what is your truth. And that's really what you've gained from the South Node in Sag, is that you probably come packed with a lot of knowledge and a wealth of I think of like the scholar also. It's 9th house. So there is this very eclectic feeling with Sagittarius, but again, the one thing that is something that you have to let go of with this Gemini North Node is, again, being too fixated on one thing, feeling like maybe you know it all. Another thing I can suggest that may be true for you, because we are talking about the South Node as the past. This could be, again, if it's not resonating for you, this could be a parental figure that was very like my way or the highway kind of attitude. Like, I know better, the know-it-all, right? You know, and they can have a very fiery personality when you try to maybe speak up. And they're like, well, I've already been there, done that. So you're preaching to the choir kind of thing. So you might have had relationships with people that were like that maybe were a bit more dominating to some degree, because they felt like they knew better. And maybe they do, but doesn't mean that they can't empathize or try to listen or relate, right? This is that emotional space that can be challenging for both of these signs, okay? It can create, again, a level of too many ideas, too many thoughts can create this anxiety too. So there's this fine balance between that, is opening up to other people, allowing new ideas to come in, because there's a lot of fresh new perspectives here. But we have to grab them. We have to be willing to see them. We cannot get too trapped in the mind either, 9 of Swords. Again, stepping more into the heart. And that does take, again, patience. That's being really strongly signified in this reading here with the 7 of Pentacles and the 4 of Swords. So not being impulsive, not being too quick to judge, being more flexible, being more adaptable, learning how to ground your energy, not pushing people away, is what I'm seeing here, learning the balance between self and others. And this provides direction, the Chariot. This could also talk about, again, travel. You know, Sag is more a long distance travel, whereas Gemini is within communities. And like we said, the Gemini North Node is more about community and not institutions. So also Gemini North Node can be a leader to some extent with the Chariot. This is the Emperor or the Empress that's guiding that Chariot. So they are leading the way, they are leaders, they are guiding this Chariot forward. So there is a strong message of leadership within your community, within your close circles, right? Learning how to bring community together is also very crucial for Gemini North Node, because, you know, again, the 3rd house also talks about networks, and this could be through technology as well, through the interwebs, as they say. But there is a lot about opening up to relationships, especially people that are a bit different than you, because again, there's so much to learn from your opposite. All right, what do we have for the Gemini North Node? Sagittarius South Node, what do we have for them here? Enlightenment. Beautiful. Look at that beautiful card. This is the Sacred Destiny deck. How can they gain this enlightenment? Let's see. How can they gain this enlightenment? That's really these aces. That's another big keyword when I think of Sag and Gemini, is becoming enlightened. You know, it's a very spiritual dynamic here. There's a thirst for knowledge. The Gemini North Node is urging you to allow yourself to open up to joy. Look at that, delight, play, not being too fixated, learning how to rest as well, when to rest. There's wisdom here. Look at that. And I saw purification on the bottom. Look at this delight card with enlightenment. So through rest, right? We saw this with the 4 of Swords, and through the 7 of Pentacles, there are going to be moments of pause that need to be found here. And I think this pause is really to enlighten the heart, because delight and joy, these are emotions that we feel. Allowing yourself to feel good is what I'm seeing here, especially with the Lovers. And again, not allowing me say past power dynamics between family, friends, lovers, making you very pessimistic, or maybe feeling like you have to be guarded or selfish to some extent. And you have to be able to let people in and share those cups, share that knowledge here, right? You don't have to stand guard to those cups. It's almost like an offering that you can give to the world. And it actually can bring also, I'm seeing here, is joy to others. Your enlightenment through this axis. When you really start to embrace this Gemini quality, you bring joy to others as well. The Lovers with the delight. You can enlighten others. I'm getting strong messages of, again, leadership within your community. Because I do feel like that Sagittarius South Node really does come packed with a lot of wisdom. And again, if we're talking about past lives here, and we think of, you know, say for instance, you had a past life. This is just an example. Not all of you might believe in this. But if, say, you have this Sag South Node and you come equipped from a past life that's from hundreds of years ago, we have to evolve with the current times to some extent, is what I'm getting with this message too with Gemini. There is adaptability, like we said, with Gemini. So we have to be able to adapt from what we are coming well equipped with, or what we were taught from our parents that maybe restricted us to a certain viewpoint. Because again, it's like my way or the highway. I know better. I've been there, done that kind of attitude that you're stepping out of. You're being guided to step out of that and to embrace, again, polarities amongst others, getting familiar with your enemies, befriending your enemy, befriending your inner critic even. I just see this strength card on the bottom, which is all about befriending our fears, our limitations, our primalistic side, right? The things that we keep hidden within us. And learning how to openly communicate that through this Gemini North Node. And also, again, leading others to maybe communicate, helping with conflict resolution. These are really good skills that you're meant to learn to lead others. I hope that this message helped you. Bye for now.